Dr. David Luce, who is now president of Lutheran Theological Seminary, describes a situation that occurred while he was doing graduate study on the way to earning his doctorate. One of his teachers, by the name of Dr. LaRue, regularly addressed David Luce as Dr. Luce. And though he aspired to be Dr. Luce, David was still years away from earning that doctorate. And as he heard his professor call him Dr. Luce, he grew more and more uncomfortable with that form of address. And so finally, after a period of months, he confronted his professor about that, saying, "I haven't earned my doctorate yet, and I feel uncomfortable. I don't think you should call me Dr. Luce." His professor patiently responded, "In the African American church, we are not content to call you what you are, but instead, we call you what we believe you will be. We call you what we believe you will be, what we believe you will become." Dr. Luce describes that moment as an unexpected, unsettling, nearly inconceivable blessing in his life. To be thought of not by what he was, but as what he would soon become. The portion of Scripture that I read this morning, we often call the Beatitudes. They have often been set up and preached on and prayed on and interpreted to suggest that it is only if we hunger for righteousness that we will be filled, or only if we are merciful that we will receive mercy, or only if we are pure in heart that we will see God. And I don't think that is what Jesus is saying. I don't think it's what he is saying to his disciples that I imagine gathering on that mountaintop right around him, and hundreds of other people who overheard these words to the disciples. The Beatitudes are not imperatives. They do not shake their finger at us and tell us it has to be this way, you must do this, if you don't do that, you will not. And only if you do this will you get whatever it is. I don't think the Beatitudes are another laundry list of things to do. And certainly we have plenty of lists of what we are to do. But instead, I believe the Beatitudes that begin the Sermon on the Mount function as an invitation. I believe the Beatitudes are an invitation to live as the blessed community, to live as the blessed community God has created us to be. I believe that all of these statements are, in fact, a warm and powerful invitation to God's people, an invitation that imagines what one day will finally be true. I believe the Beatitudes are an unexpected, unsettling, nearly inconceivable blessing. Søren Kierkegaard, a Danish philosopher, stressed the need for God's people to hear the gospel in a primitive way. That is, he says, instead of the refinements and the scholarship that we have incorporated in our understanding of Scripture, Kierkegaard says we need to hear the words addressed directly to us. Unfettered words spoken to us, to each one of us, directly and personally. Words addressed to you, to me, today. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And among us today, certainly some of us are poor in spirit. And yours is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. And there are surely among us today those who mourn the loss of loved ones, the loss of a future, the loss of career, the loss of health. And you will be comforted. And blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. And don't we all, in some way, feel that we may be the meek, and we will inherit the earth? The Beatitudes speak a word of hope in our time. The Beatitudes speak a word of hope, in fact, in every time. God is not setting terms or conditions. Jesus is not simply speaking a blessing. Jesus is giving a blessing. And it's a blessing for all kinds of people. For the vulnerable and the fearful, for the sad and for the down and out. It is a blessing for the people at the bottom of the ladder, and a blessing for those at the top of the ladder as well. Today's scripture is a word of remarkable hope, of profound blessing. In the Middle Ages, when the plague was rampant, the mantra of God bless you developed. It was a way to ward off disease and death, or at least the people thought it was. In fact, it was a prayer of sorts for someone who may have had the plague. Perhaps we can reclaim those three words: God bless you. Three words which suggest joy, not fear, delight, not disease, God's new life, not death. You are blessed. You are a precious child of God. That is the word Jesus has for you today, individually, every one of you, and for all of us as a community. This is who we are. It is who we are becoming. It is how we shall become a blessed community by living together and sharing in God's great love for us. It is God's delight to create and to bless and to redeem. And our scripture reminds us that we are invited into blessing and creation and redemption. It is God's blessing for you today and every day, even into an uncertain future. This is God's blessing, too, for us to share, for us to take out of this place and to see those around us and recognize each person as a precious child of God, as a blessed, precious child of God. My friends, there is in the Beatitude no imperative. Instead, an invitation, a gift to live as those who are blessed, a gift to receive the gifts that God wants to offer to us. We aren't the kind of people here, I don't think, who can turn to one another and say, "You are blessed. You are a precious child of God." But will you? Will you, for just a moment, imagine yourself hearing those words? You are a precious child of God. You are a blessing from God. And then, will you at least consider, before you leave here this morning, turning to someone else and giving them the gift that we receive from Jesus Christ, by saying to that someone, "You are a precious child of God. You are blessed." Amen.